so often, what can be beneficial for the person who feels they're being gaslit is to really focus their attention on caring for themselves, identifying first what is the breaking point in these conversations when I actually need to step aside because I am too activated and this conversation is not going to go anywhere if I continue. Now, once you decide that kind of cutoff point, you also need to figure out what do I do once I leave to care for myself, to help myself re regulate. Oftentimes, when we're in connections with someone who gaslights, much of our if we're okay depends on their response. Now, this is great if you have someone super stable, but usually that's not the case. And so it becomes really important to work on self regulating and self soothing. Now, next, if you feel that this conversation is important to continue, I think it's important to reconnect on the issue when everyone's calm. Because sometimes with space and both people calming down, you have a little bit more flexibility to readdress the issue. Most of the time, issues within relationships need to be addressed multiple times. It's not a kind of one and done kind of thing. Because you want to have a follow up later and to reflect on what happened. Now, a next step is to identify the support systems in your life that don't gaslight and look and see, are you relying on these people? Because sometimes when people talk to me about being gaslit, they have this tendency to kind of pick at people who gaslight them, which gets them more activated, and then they're like, they'll never show up for me. But there probably are people who can show up for you, and maybe it would be more helpful to bring up certain topics with those people as opposed to the person who has consistently shown you they can't show up. So creating and maintaining these connections. And finally, what can also be beneficial is to identify when you're going to have a conversation with someone who tends to gaslight, what is kind of the point of my conversation, and stay focused on that. So when they throw in the thing where you have to defend or prove yourself, avoid that and just focus on, I really just need you to know this right now, and just leave it at that. So those are three kind of base ways of starting to break free from the pattern of gaslighting.